We always look at suffering as something wrong, evil, not right. It's not God's will. In many occasions, it is. We learn to obey by suffering. You come to learn that you're really the wife or the husband of your spouse because you suffered for him or for her. My mother suffered 17 years for my dad. He was a heart patient and he could not eat fat, meat, high cholesterol. And my mother's family is always with this kind of very spicy and rich food. And she had to eat the Ilonggo laswa, boiled. And it was the suffering that she endured and she came to love. That today at the age of 95, when you see her at breakfast, she gets laswa. No taste. Boiled. But she did it for her husband. And my dad remained alive for the next 17 years because someone took care and someone suffered with him. So that when he died, yes, it was a very sorrowful moment, but it was also very peaceful because my mother could say, I loved him to the very end. The afternoon, he got a heart attack. Her first cousin, a doctor, cardiologist, at the time it was still in San Juan de Dios Hospital, told her, your husband has 1% chance to live. 1%. I was 4 years old. My brother was 6. My mother did not finish high school. Yeah, she was able to come up with a school of fashion, that means a dressmaking school in her province. But to raise up 2 boys in elementary years without my dad, who was a lawyer, who was a corporate person of the Ayalas, she could not imagine what would be the life of these 2 boys. She said, I went to the chapel of the hospital. It was run by the Daughters of Charity. She prayed all night long. Next morning, my dad was alive. 17 years after he died of a broken heart. Why? Because his heart got broken. It was the 3rd attack. It just split. Nothing more. And I was not a priest. I was a seminarian. But I could see that from my mother, there was not a sigh of relief, but there was peace. Because she proved to herself she learned to love my dad even more when she suffered for him. Jesus learned to suffer. And he accepted it. He took it as part of being human. You know what is kara in a coin? The face, no? Heads. And then behind is called tails. It's also in Tagalog called cruz. Kara, cruz. Di ba some guys were playing kara cruz. If you see kara in the front and at the back kara, it's called doble kara. It's not a coin. Maybe it's a play money, but it's fake. A life without cruz, it's fake. It's not real. Di ba? You know that? May hirap, may ginhawa. You know still the Tagalog? Kung may hirap, may ginhawa. There's pain, there is triumph, there is something, alleviation, there's relief. How could you have relief? You never had pain. No cross, no crown. No thorn, no throne. No pain, no gain. Part of life. Jesus learned it. As the Son of God, for all eternity, he did not know pain. He did not know suffering. But he learned But what is more important is that he grew in grace before God. Oh my gosh, he said, isn't that his mother full of grace? Is Jesus not with grace? Well, what we mean by grace, it says here, favor before God and men. He started to learn how to love. He also had to learn to grow in love. He was a boy. He was a playful person. But he was taught how to serve. He was taught how to stop playing and do something for the home. He became a carpenter. He had to go to the task of his foster father and become a carpenter, a builder. So you could say that Jesus is a bit brawny because he was not a fisherman. How would he do fishing when you are in a land that there is no water? There's not even a river. Nazareth is inland. If you were in Capernaum, it's just beside the sea, you become a fisherman. But if you're in Pampanga, you don't become a fisherman, but become a carpenter of Betty's. Right? So, he became that. He learned to serve. He learned to give his time. He learned to be a generous person. He all learned this in the hidden years. So, brothers and sisters, family life, especially when the kids are small, growing up, don't miss this time. They are going to be shaped by you. Only you could really shape these people. If you leave them to television, if you leave them to internet, they would learn pornography, they would see many other things. But that's nothing in comparison to what you can do with them at this occasion. Do you know that you are what you are at the age of 14? After 14, wala na. You are what you are. When you wake up in the morning, your wife is still your wife. And when you sleep at night, is still the same person. Makulit. They call him yesterday, voice activated. Always telling something. And that has been since day one you got married. You noticed it when you started to live with her. Yeah, when you were, you know what's the difference between couples who are married and couples who are boyfriend and girlfriend? Boyfriend and girlfriend, they say sweet nothings. Husband and wife, they say nothing sweet. Why are you laughing? It's true, di ba, Melanie? It's true. No more texting, no more sweet nothings. We're already married. And before you know it, you're not communicating. What about the kids? What about your children? At the age of 14, they're set. You have them until the time. They keep on tagging along with you. They are pressed sometimes. But after a few years, they're gone. And you miss the time to shape their minds, their soul, their hearts. Don't miss it to your kids. If your kids now are 15 or 18 years old, don't worry. You've done your best before this talk. So, let go, let God. Don't do it to your grandchildren, please. Huh? Don't start meddling around with your in-laws. No. Let them take care. You could give advice to your children, but after that, it's their life. But if you have got smaller kids, please do something about it. Because Jesus had to learn it from his parents. And the meaning of grace started to know how to love his fellow, to love his God, to pray, and to do sacrifice and service for each other. Why am I telling this? Because Jesus is an ordinary person. Very ordinary. But he learned to do things extraordinarily well. Jot this down. It's not what you do, but why you do it. It's not how much you do, but how well you do it. It's not what you do, but why you do it. It's not how much you're able to do, but how well you do it. It's not the mountains you move, but the motive by which you move them. It's not your labors that God wants. It's the love by which those labors are done. It's the love that makes ordinary things extraordinary. Why? Because love is a pure gift. It's an act of personal freedom. That is an optimum, that is an optimum of postmodern society. I was telling you earlier. But what kind of love? What kind of love that is really extraordinarily good, and yet it is given in the ram-tam-tam of each day. It's the love that is patient, that is kind, that does not put on airs, is not boastful, is not keeping offenses. It's a love that rejoices with the truth. It's a love that hopes, that bears, that endures. That's the love. It's a love that is eternal. That's what Jesus learned to do. To love like His Father. To love as God's only Son. And each one of us here, sorry, the PowerPoint became only Nazarian. I forgot to keep on putting. Don't worry. Anyway, you're looking at me, you're not looking there, diba? So, sorry, you have to look at me this time. So, the intensity of Christ's life can be summarized in His love. And you know, that is what He taught us. That is what He showed us. The way God loved us. And you know what? He loved us the way the Father would have loved us. I have this little story. I don't know if it is true. If you die, you ask God whether I told you something true today. But that's how I look at it. One day, God the Father made a meeting, an assembly with His Son and the Holy Spirit. And the two says, "Why the meeting?" And the Father says, "I have something to tell you. We know everything. We are God. We are Trinity." "No, there's something that you don't." "No, we don't know something." "Yeah, I'm going to tell you something. A plan that I have in my heart." He says, "What is that?" You know, look at the people down below on earth. Will they get back to us? And the Spirit says, "No way." "Why?" "They don't know how to love each other." "Yeah," he said. "That's what I'm going to tell you. I'm going to be with them. I will be in a family. I will be born in a family," the Father said. And the Spirit says, "No way. We don't have a body. We are spirit." And the Father says, "You know, Spirit, nothing is impossible with us." And the Son said, "Dad, what will you do if you become a man?" "Well, I'll live in a family, share the life of a family. Hopefully, the family will be so much blessed by the love we could show to each other that other families will take notice, and then we create a group of families that would know how to love each other. Then they will be able to come back to us." And the Holy Spirit says, "Suppose they don't get it. They don't dig." And the Father says, "Well, I'll teach it. I'll talk about it. I'll preach. And I'll even cure. I'll even be concerned and caring of my neighbor beyond my family." And the Spirit again says, "Suppose they don't dig it again. I'll die for them." "Oh no, you don't die. We don't die." And the Father says, "Come on, nothing is impossible with us." And the Son said quizzically, "Dad, you're going to become a man, live with a family, even teach, show your care to others, and if they don't dig it, you're going to die for them?" "Yes, that's our love." You know what the Son said? "Dad, I'll do it for you. Dad, I'll do it for you." And the Father said, No, I'm going to do it. I'm telling you the plan. That's why I told you the plan. I'm going to